Hi, my name is Catherine Rivera, and I'm here to tell you why you should vote no on Prop 20. So, what does our current legal system entail? Well, currently, felonies are considered to be the most severe forms of crimes, as stated by our legal system. Misdemeanors are known as the less severe forms of crimes. With a felony, people may spend time on parole upon their release from prison, and those who have been charged for less severe crimes may face a reduced punishment and thus potentially an early release date as well. What does Proposition 20 aim to change? Well, for starters, it would allow for certain types of theft and fraud crimes to be now charged as a misdemeanor or as a felony. Currently, they can only be charged as a misdemeanor. It would also establish two additional types of crime within our legislation, this being serial crime and organized retail crime. It would then charge those guilty of these crimes as wobblers, which are crimes chargeable as misdemeanors or felonies. For those who have been convicted of certain misdemeanors that were known as wobblers, misdemeanors, or felonies, they would be required to submit a collection of DNA samples to the state and federal databases. So now you're asking, well, how does that affect us? Well, making crimes such as firearm theft, vehicle theft, and unlawful use of a credit card chargeable as misdemeanors or felonies rather than as misdemeanors, it would ultimately lead to more people going to prison and thus overcrowding within these places. What's an example of these repercussions they want to implement? Well, this would mean that in some cases, those convicted of stealing items of $250 up to $950 in value could be sent to county jail for up to 3 years. Now going back to the database. So, say one day you decided to shoplift, you were a teenager, and it was a small item, one that you really didn't think was of much value to the store or one that they wouldn't miss. You felt confident that you wouldn't get caught shoplifting, but the owner just so happened to see you. Well, now you're legally required to submit a collection of DNA samples to the state and federal databases. This is your first ever crime, yet now you're being treated in the same manner that of a felon would. The logic behind this is that it would help law enforcement solve crimes much faster. But if you are a POC, one that is already disproportionately represented within federal databases, they would be affected by mistaken convictions at an even higher rate. Now, what type of funds will this proposition require if it is passed? Well, if it's passed, it would depend on how the law has been applied and whether or not it has been challenged in our court. In the grand scheme of things, it could have the potential to increase law enforcement, courts, and the correctional system in tens of millions of dollars. Now, just to solidify why you should vote no, think of this. California has already passed some of the toughest laws against serious and violent crimes, and these crimes have been deemed of this nature in a logical way. Although these funds are being directed towards the prison system, they should be directed towards things that we really need, such as our education systems, making healthcare more accessible to all, or towards affordable housing. Resources used were http://ballotpedia.org, which is a nonprofit website designed to educate the American people about politics at all levels of government, easyvoterguide.org, which is a collaboration of the League of Women Voters of California Education Fund and the California State Library, and another website, which is the U.S. National Library of Medicine, the National Institute of Health. Thank you.